A later comer to literary fame, Aeschylus launched his maiden voyage. Gene unutun tarihi, forget about the year. In 499 BC, at the annual festival in honor of Dionysus, his competition. Forget about the names, there were some dramatists of his day. It was until 484 BC, 15 years later, that Aeschylus won the highest prize, an acknowledgement of his brilliant achievements. Interposed among his literary successes, he served as an infantryman during the Persian Wars and distinguished himself at two decisive battles. There are some names of battles at that time, but forget about. We don't need to remember. He won a second place award for Persia, the Persians, his only historical play, which honors the Battle of Salamis. To lead the chorus in Persians, Aeschylus chose 20-year-old Pericles. Although he lost to Sophocles in 468 BC, he tasted sweet victory another time in 471 BC with his Theban tetralogy, and again in 462 BC at the age of 62 with Orestia. This is important, his work, winning a total of 13 prizes during his career. So he won 13 prizes, ödül, during his career. Of the 90 plays, 90 tane oyun yazıyor, dikkat edin, with which he is credited, some 70 odd of which are identified by title, başlıklarıyla tanınıyorlar. 6 tragedies, pay attention, remain as examples of his artistry. 6 tane trajedi oyunu günümüze kadar ulaşıyor. Plus, ayrıca, some fragments of satire plays. Despite the prominence of Prometheus Bound, bunu size ödül olarak, ödev olarak düzeltiyorum, veriyorum, onu da belirtiyorum. Duydum, duymadım diye bir şey diyemiyorum. Bunu öğrenmek zorundasınız. Yani göndermenize gerek yok. You don't need to send me as homework, but you are responsible for Prometheus Bound. Ki bir sonraki konumuzun başlığında da bunu zaten göreceksiniz çocuklar. So, despite the prominence of Prometheus Bound, which has traditionally held an important place in the canon. Bu canon kelimesini de çok iyi öğrenin. Bu pek çok eserlerde böyle kalburüstü diyebileceğimiz, önem arz eden diyebileceğimiz durumlar için kullanılır. Canon. Bir de hepinizin bildiği işte gemilerdeki top diyelim. Recent discussions of its authenticity leave it in question. Because of his earnest pursuit of humanistic themes. Dikkat edin, in his works we can find the pursuit of humanistic themes, the aspects of humanistic themes. Aeschylus considered himself a moralist and teacher. Underline. Ironically, his reputation was marked by a trial for impiety. Although he was acquitted of the charge, kendisi hakkında suçlamalarda da bulunuyorlar. His name is forever linked with the publication of the secret rites of Demeter, a serious matter in his day. He appears not to have joined the initiates of the Eleusinian mysteries, preferring instead the worship of Pythian Apollo. Forget about Pythian. Although Aeschylus was known for piety, he was a private man, keeping his faith to himself and spurning public demonstrations of religiosity. On several occasions he traveled to Sicily, Sicilya'ya gidiyor, as a guest of forget about the king, where he enjoyed the company of, forget about the names as well. He was so happy there. Achilles retired in Sicily and died at Gela. Forget about where he died. The epithet which he chose for himself omits his literary triumphs. You can just look at it. A decent, pious man, he was a pious, dindar bir insan. Achilles dedicated his life to old-fashioned virtues and obviously derived much satisfaction from his military service. He joined the military during Athens' Great War with the Persians. O yüzdendir ki eserin işte Persians diye yazıyor. Yet his tomb, mezarı, became a shrine, adet olarak görülüyor, for poets on pilgrimage. Hacıların kendi, işte, hacı diyebileceğimiz şairlerin mezarına gelmeleri. Also to his honor, both his sons, forget about his sons' names, as well as his nephew, forget about, became tragedians and they become a great literary man also. Scholars attach great importance to his prize-winning trilogy. Üçlü yazdığı eserleri var. Agamemnon, Kofor ve Eumenides, which comprise the only remaining trilogy from ancient times. The depth of theme of complexity of mythic detail represent a remarkable achievement. So these three trilogy gave a great achievement. For the first time in recorded literature, written literature, and author weighs ağırlığını gösteriyor. The meaning of suffering and questions whether God can exist in multiple forms. Demin teolojiden, ilahiyetten bahsettik hatırlarsanız. Tanrı'nın varlığının olup olmadığı konusunda hem biraz böyle sıkıntılar duyuyor hem de sorgulamaya gidiyor kendisi. As he examines the legends surrounding Agamemnon's family, Achilles ponders, thinks of the nature of justice, bunu söylemiştik, and God's influence underlined in human affairs. Honored by Aristophanes 50 years after his death, as a worthy moralist, unutmayın moralist, Achilles became a legend, a symbol of lofty ethical thought. İşte büstü de bir yerde kullanıyor. Kendinden sonra later on many present philosophers or the philosophers in the past, American novelists as well as some English poets were influenced by Achilles' thoughts. So I give you Prometheus Bound to read, and then we will go on with another tragedian at that time, Sophocles. Sophocles, Atticus' most distinguished tragedian. Bir Athens var, bir de Attica var, dikkat edin. Athens' most distinguished tragedian lived and wrote during Athens' most memorable age. The major source of information about his life, an anonymous anonym biography, was discovered in Paris in the 13th century. 13. asırda dikkat edin, Paris'te kendi hayatı üzerinde anonim olarak yazılmış bir biyografisi Sophokles'in bulunuyor. A native of colonists, forget about the place, a mile northwest of Athens, Atina'nın bir uzak bir yerinde birazcık. He was probably born, forget about the year, lived to be 90, he lived nearly 90 years, and was buried in the family grave, let's say, graveyard. And forget about where it is. To adorn the theater at Athens, Lycurgus commissioned a bronze portrait, bust, bir büst, which may be the original from which extant models were made. Kendisinin bir büstünün olduğu da söyleniyor. It is said that he had a bust. In his honor, Athenians, pay attention, proclaimed Sophocles the entertainer and made annual sacrifices at his shrine. Bunlar da demin Aşilüs'te gördüğümüz gibi mabetlerinde yatmaktalar ve bu mabetlere de insanlar gitmekte. His father, forget about his name, was a wealthy armorer, silah yapan diyelim, kılıç kalkan, who managed a sizable gang of slave craftsmen and maintained a middle-of-the-road political stance. So his father dealt with politics as well, in order to preserve precious military contracts. His young son, reared, fed, brought up in comfort. Yani Sophocles son derece varlıklı bir aile içinde büyümüş. Tıpkı Aeschylus gibi. And cultivation, education, grew to a model of the Athenian notion of beauty, grace, intelligence, and sociability. Sophocles studied music, forget about the name of the teacher, the best music teacher of his day, and a champion of the old school, which scorned the excess of contemporary music in perfect. So he studied music as well. At the time of Battle of Salamis, 16-year-old Sophocles, pay attention, was chosen to lead a chorus of young male singers. He participated in the young male singers as well, of victory and to accompany their performance on the ark.